welcome to this new video for my channel, The Mental Traveler. I'm Caro Herrera, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Marsh King's Daughter, a thriller novel written by Karen Dionne and published in 2017. This book is actually a modern retelling of a childhood classic by the same name, written by Hans Christian Andersen, that tells the story of an Egyptian princess that flies north to find some flowers that will help her heal her ill father. She flies north disguised as a swan, but when she finally spots the flowers under a marsh, she sheds off her disguise and dives into the water. Then her companions take away her disguise, leaving her stranded in the pond. Then an ugly tree turns into an ogre who kidnaps the princess, forcing her to stay with him. Sometime later, a flower appears on the marsh, and inside it, there's a beautiful baby who is taken to a Viking's wife to take care of. But this child, who only grows more beautiful as time goes by, has a curse on her. By day she is pretty but has a horrible character, and by night she turns into an ugly toad with a sweet nature, which means that this being is the offspring of the ogre and the princess, and she takes after her parents in more than one way. By day she looks like her mother, but has her father's personality, and by night she looks like her dad, but has her mother's sweet disposition. Anyway, before I begin, I just want to say that this will be a spoiler-free video, so you can sit back and enjoy. I'd never heard of The Marsh King's Daughter, either the classic tale or the modern retelling, up until May 2021, when I saw in the news that Ben Mendelsohn and Daisy Ridley were going to start in the movie adaptation of this novel. I don't care that much for Daisy Ridley, but I really think that Ben Mendelsohn is very handsome and he's a good actor. So I decided to check out the plot of the story to see if I should get excited about the movie. And because of the title, I thought it might be about this medieval setting with a castle and a marsh and a moat or something. And the story really isn't about that, but the plot really intrigued me. So I read some comments saying that the book was fantastic. I then researched the book on Goodreads, and all the reviews were very positive. And while I don't really like to read thrillers, I stick to classic or historical fiction novels, I decided to give this one a try. And despite the fact that it was a modern book in the sense that it was not only recently published, but it takes place in a modern setting, I decided that wouldn't bother me. I checked out the first sample chapters on Amazon, and I was hooked pretty right away. So I bought the novel, and I ended up loving it so much that I read it in less than 2 days. I shall read out to you all the summary of the book that's on Goodreads because I really like it. The mesmerizing tale of a woman who must risk everything to hunt down the dangerous man who shaped her past and threatens to steal her future, her father. Helena Pelletier has a loving husband, 2 beautiful daughters, and a business that fills her days. But she also has a secret. She is the product of an abduction. Her mother was kidnapped as a teenager by her father and kept in a remote cabin in the marshlands of Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Helena, born 2 years after the abduction, loved her home in nature, and despite her father's sometimes brutal behavior, loved him too, until she learned precisely how savage he could be. More than 20 years later, she has buried her past so soundly that even her husband doesn't know the truth. But now her father has killed 2 guards, escaped from prison, and disappeared into the marsh. The police begin a manhunt, but Helena knows that only one person has the skills to find the survivalist the world calls the Marsh King, because only one person was ever trained by him, his daughter. I give The Marsh King's Daughter a 4.5 out of 5 stars review for several reasons. For starters, it had been a long time since I devoured a novel so fast because I was thoroughly enjoying it, and I was very happy to be surprised by just how much I liked this book. The writing style ran really smooth, the character development was really well done, very deep and layered and believable, and I'm just in awe of the author's imagination for turning a children's classic into this eerily exquisite thriller twist of a book. I loved all the characters because they were all flawed and relatable, and I'm only not giving this book a higher rating because it's just too different to my usual favorites to compare to them, but it's still a great read which I totally recommend. Helena is nothing like me, and yet I really admired her and understood why she did the things she did. And her parents, well, they're very complicated beings, but I like the fact that her mother seemed like a real woman, because I'm sure many would react the same way in that situation. And her father was just so flawed that all his humanity was so evident, you sort of understood why he thought what he was doing was right. And also, I learned a lot about hunting and fishing and living in the woods. And since I'm not an outdoor type of girl, it was okay to get a glimpse into that life from the safe distances of the pages of a book. When the movie comes out, I shall of course be watching and reviewing it. I can't wait to see it. And though I'm not complaining that they cast a handsome Ben Mendelsohn in it, because as I said, he's very talented, I think it was an odd casting choice to make at this era because the father of the protagonist is of Native American roots. and Ben Mendelsohn is Australian, so he doesn't quite fit the physical bill. But yeah, I won't say anything else about the film until I've seen it. So in the meantime, thank you so much for watching my review of the book. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you did or if you didn't, because I would love to talk about the book, the upcoming movie, the original classic tale, anything that's relevant with you. And well, you can find the Goodreads page for the novel in the description box below. Anyways, I'm Carolina, the Mental Traveler, and I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. I'll be seeing you soon. Take care, and goodbye!